Love, you are an infinite being of light, of love, and the divine is within you. That's right, the creator, God, source, that divinity, that love, that infinite connection to source energy is always available for you because it lives within you. So today, on this episode of Angels Don't Lie, I wanted to talk into what happens when our mind and our heart aren't finding that divinity. Instead, we are finding more fear. There are more chaotic situations that are grasping for our attention, and our energy starts to feel depleted, and even like being pulled and nudged in areas of like paying attention to what's outside of us instead of being able to return to come in within ourselves to reconnect with that divine, with the Holy Spirit, with love that's always available within our being. So if you're new here, welcome aboard. My name is Jeannie Street. I'm a God-based medium, healer, and author. And on this episode, we are going to be diving into your soul, the infinite being of you. So your soul is an infinite being of light. That means you're always connected with God's source, divine energy. There is nothing that you can do to ever not be connected. What can happen, though, is we can lose our way. We can find our way in life where we're paying more attention to, where our awareness is on earthly things, on the problems, on the things that we're living in, on the economy, on the world around us, on all the other things, but we're not tuning in with source energy. And so today we're going to talk about your soul being this infinite being of light, and you're just one little meditation away from tuning into the vastness of the wisdom that God has for you that will actually help move you through whatever you're in at a heightened way. Like, so what I mean by this is like, we can get stuck in the worry, in the doubt, in the wonderment of the situations or circumstances that we're in. And without connecting with that truth, with God's source, light energy, we aren't going to receive the wisdom that is going to give us the guidance, the love, and the support that is really going to help us navigate and be open for miracles. And instead, we become more closed off. And what happens when our energy becomes more attached to the earthly realm instead of the heavenly realm is we're going to see more manifestations of the earthly realm coming in to teach us, to remind us like, hey, here's this opposing energy. Here's this thing that's going to teach you or rub up against you, that's going to poke you, it's going to prod you, it's going to cause you pain, until you can rise into the higher thinking, the higher thought system, the higher prayer, which is, and I say higher meaning heightened, meaning love energy, meaning calling on God, calling on the Holy Spirit, calling on love, calling on your angels to support you in the areas of life that are feeling that stuckness. So let's take, for instance, a client I've been working with, and she has been really working through the childhood experiences that created, I'll say, those trauma imprints, right? And created a lifelong struggle of her own self-worth. And I think this is pretty relatable. I think, a lot of people out there, including myself, have had those type of struggles of our self-worth, or being questioned of our own authority, or maybe even those imprints of what other people believe is true for you. But in your heart, something is different, something else is real. But we're so connected, again, to earth that we're missing the divine connection. We're missing the truth, which is you are vastly different than the world has told you you are. You are so much more than the person that is stuck, or the pain, or the problem, or the circumstance, or the situation, because you are love. So, what I know to be true is that when we come into life, we will have experiences that they'll be really hard, right? We're going to find ourselves bumping up against the norm, or have experiences that are going to lead us into healing something, working through something, so that we can shift something. So, these assignments that we get in life are for us to be able to grow and evolve as a soul that is ready to do new things on its journey. So a soul will come into this world to have those differences, those things that are going to propel it to grow. So everything that you've been through up until this point has been a lesson for you, has been a teaching for you, has been a moment of, hey, what is this? What is this showcasing about who you are? So let's say you grew up like my client with a really difficult father, and that father figure was like really painful. He was really hurtful. He did a lot of things that were neglectful. He left an imprint of pain, and he left you with the energy of feeling really unworthy and afraid of other men because of his behaviors and his inappropriateness. And what does that teach you about who you are? So when I was working with my client, we were diving into looking at around the issue, not at the issue, not directly, but in all the ways and all the things that she's done in her life to become the healer that she is. So, one, she went to college to become a therapist. Her journey led her to want to lean in and support other women who had been abused in the way that she had. She wanted to be a voice for the voiceless people. She wanted to be able to help another woman navigate the really hard challenges of having someone be a father figure but not give you love. So she was being the love for others that she needed. So that was the lesson. And so we started to take her energy where she was placing it, where her attention was going, because it was draining her. Where her attention was going was into the problem, into who he was, into the things that happened. And it was zapping and draining her. So there's no denial of the thing that happened, the pain that happened. There is, however, a moment in time when we tune in with God frequency, when we change the narrative of, I'm no longer giving my power there, instead I'm giving my power to the divine, because I get to be this virgin that is supportive and loving and showing up and helping other women in the world. That one shift for her changed everything. She went from having barely any clients to a full roster of clients, because once she moved out of her own depletion, once she stopped depleting her energy and seeking validation from the one person who could not give her validation, but instead tuned into what God had to say and how God was guiding her to be the love for herself and then for others, like I'm telling you, everything shifted. So how do we do this? How do we take this hard thing that we are living in, the hard thing that is going on in our life, and we aren't going to bypass it, right? Because this is the thing that I think most people get stuck with. It's like they don't want to bypass what's happening. So we're not denying it. We're not denying that there's something big, something painful, something maybe scary, something hard, something maybe you don't have answers for that is going on right at this moment. But instead of having your energy be out in the outside world, I'm going to invite you to come in and drop into your heart center. And how I love to teach people to do this is you're simply going to close your eyes, as long as you're not driving or using heavy machinery. You're going to take a moment to close your eyes. You're going to take a breath through your nose and release with a full exhale out. You're just going to go, and you begin to start to feel your body let go. Eyes are closed, your breath is calm, and then you're going to start to keep breathing continual breathing, but you're going to connect your breath with your internal eyesight. What this means is you're going to use your internal sensory system. These are your heavenly senses. And once we come on board with our heavenly senses, we can move into our heart center, moving into this place where is the seat of the soul, the place where you and the divine come together. You and God are present there. It is love. So you come into this heart center and you start to become aware of what you see. Now, this isn't going to be with your physical eyesight. It is, however, going to be with the internal eyesight, which also can start to connect to your other internal senses. So you might get something that comes into your mind's eye, a visual of light. You might start to feel the sense of lightness. You might even feel dark. You might even feel like I'm not seeing any light. And that's perfectly fine, because it takes one step into the heart center to begin to open it, to begin that new communication with heaven, to start trusting God over the problem. And then we come into the prayer. God, lead me, guide me, show me. I come into this heart center. I pause. I'm breathing in. I'm welcoming in your light, your love, so that there is a guidance, a wisdom from heaven that will support me in moving in this day, in moving through this issue. Now, not all answers are going to come with a full, ending of where you are, but it's a moment of peace that comes. It might be one word. It might be a kindness. It might be a sign that you receive. It might remind you, it might get a rose which says, say the rosary. We all receive in our language, our vocabulary, in things that matter to us. And so just take a moment when you're in that heart center to pause and breathe. And even if your mind continues to roll, and even if you continue to feel like you're not getting anything, stay, breathe, keep going. Because what you're going to find is more flow, more information, more sensations, and jot those down in your journal. Write down everything that you sense and leave it on the page. Ask for the Holy Spirit to expand it. Ask your angels to surround you with the most holiest of love. Pray life over yourself, and you will find that life returns to you. Yes, it returns to you. So, my love, this is where I'm going to leave you today. Short, quick, but really deep. The divine is within you. And this is your invitation to start coming in and learning how that relationship looks, feels, and start opening the conversation with heaven. I hope this leaves you in a better place than where you were when you started. And my prayer for you today is that you are able to expand that heart center to really sense the divine within you. May God bless you and keep you, and hope you have a really beautiful day.